News from Iowa today reports that a senior official from Newt Gingrich's campaign has resigned after disparaging remarks about Mitt Romney's Mormon faith, calling it, quote, the cult of Mormon. Now, many people have wondered how faith and politics would collide if one of the candidates were to take aim at the front runner's faith. But my next guest says that his Mormon faith informs him that a strict separation of church and state protects freedoms for all people of all faiths, as well as those of none. He says we should elect a president based on his attitudes towards freedom instead of his religious beliefs. Here is Connor Boyack, author of the great new book, Latter-day Liberty. Connor, it's a pleasure. Welcome to Freedom Watch.
Thanks for having me on, Judge.
What is it about Mormonism and libertarian views? Stated differently, why should the big government Mitt Romney, I almost called him Newt Gingrich, why should the big government Mitt Romney actually be more libertarian than he is if he's to be faithful to his Mormon values?
Right. So in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or Mormonism as it's known, we have this concept called agency. It's this idea that we have a God-given gift to be free to choose between different choices, to be accountable for that. It's closely tied, I argue, to individual liberty. So as it relates to government, that the government should only be able to coerce you or impose justice upon you if you violated someone else's rights. Other than that, we should be peaceably able to freely act as we want. And so my book is an attempt to compile all, the scriptures and the statements of our church leaders and say, really, if you look at Mormonism deeply, it, I think, supports libertarianism, as it's generally known, far better than any other religion.
All right, Connor, I don't want to get too deeply in the weeds in this, but if Governor Romney, as a practicing Mormon, signs legislation that forces everybody in Massachusetts to purchase health care and says that the government will pay for it for them if they can't afford it, is that consistent with Mormon faith? Or should the governor have declined to sign such legislation, saying this is not the job of government to take care of you, you should take care of yourself?
Yeah, and let's be clear, these aren't necessarily Mormon ideas, they're pro-liberty ideas. They can be found in any faith. I just don't think that Mitt Romney or even John Huntsman, who is also Mormon, approach their public policy from this vantage point to say, well, my faith informs me this or that. I just think that they're more pragmatic, they're more solutions-oriented, and try and find things that they simply like or support. So I argue that, the liberty principle should inform what we support in terms of public policy. I just don't think that they approach it from that vantage point at all.
All right. You and I don't know each other, but the viewers know what I'm now about to say about myself. I am an old-fashioned, pre-Vatican II Roman Catholic and a very serious libertarian. And many of my libertarian friends are not only not Catholic, not pre-Vatican II, they don't believe in God at all. Right. Does whether you believe in God or not have anything to do with whether you believe in human freedom?
Oh, not at all. I mean, whether we're talking about natural law from a creator perspective, that God has given us certain rights, or simply that we enjoy those rights because of our innate humanity, I don't think it matters where you believe that those rights come from, so long as you believe that you do have those rights and that the government should be confined to its proper role. One of the leaders of our church in the 80s, Ezra Taft Benson, he was the Secretary of Agriculture under Eisenhower, he has this masterful discourse where he says that the proper function of government should be reduced only to the spheres of activity in which you or I as individuals have the right to act. I mean, Thomas Jefferson couldn't have said it any better. So I think that these are principles that apply to any religion, no religion. I've had many people who are nationally known who've endorsed my book that aren't LDS, aren't Mormon at all. So clearly it's something that can appeal to anybody.
You're doing a great job, Connor. We appreciate you joining us. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Judge.